Welcome to Conversations That Matter. I'm Lydia Madrigal. Today we're going to talk about the arts. Our first conversation was Cheech Marin. Cheech Marin is well known for his Cheech and Chong movies, but he's more than just an actor. He's a comedian, of course, but he's also a producer, a director, and he's one smart guy. He's also an art collector. In fact, he has one of the largest art collections of Chicano art, and he's sharing it with the world. We spoke to him about his commitment to the arts and his life, and this is what he had to say.
This exhibit is called Chicanitas. It's small paintings by the Chicano art community, and I put this together so that it may travel to more community museums and smaller museums that don't have quite as much lead time, and to introduce it to places that have heretofore never seen Chicano art. When I first started doing this art, no, there's no Chicano School of Art. I says, yes, there is, and you just don't want to see it. I said, but one day I'm going to put all these paintings up in one room, and you're going to see it, and there's going to be no argument, and that's what happened.
What motivated you to start collecting art?
Well, you know, when I started getting enough money, because I was, making money with Cheech and Chong, I go, oh, I could afford art. I should go buy it. And I knew what good art was. And it coincided with the same time that I just discovered this Chicano school, these Chicano artists, and they had gotten a little bit of recognition, but not much. And I go, wow. I started collecting their art, not only because they were Chicano, that was a big part of it, but because I thought it was the best art out there, of anybody. These guys are great painters. I know what great painters, like this guy knowing what a great musician is. You can hear it. You can hear it in their music. So I saw it in their paintings. Like, these guys are great artists, and they're all the artists in this exhibition are art school and/or university trained. So they're influenced by world art, Mexican art, contemporary art, inner city art, all those kinds of things. So their paintings are very informed by knowledge of world art and the history of art, and you can see it in the paintings. And so, I thought, well, this is the best art out there. It was like when I first saw Chicano paintings, I had the same experiences when I first heard the Beatles. I know what this music is. I've heard it before. This is Chuck Berry and Motown, but it's different. It's their interpretation, and that's what Chicano art is right now for me.
One thing that's been on my mind lately is that as there's cuts in the school districts across this country, it's often the arts that get cut. I'd like to hear your thoughts about that.
Well, it's so ironic, because arts programs are the first to be cut, the first, and the last to come back. And it's contrasted with the fact that as a culture, the only thing we leave behind is art. That's the only thing we leave behind. I don't know of any museums to the art of the great business deal or any of those kinds of things, but we still go see the pyramids and the Sphinx and the Mona Lisa and the Eiffel Tower. That's what we leave behind. It says, we were here, this is who we are, this is what we believed in, this is our aspirations. Art is the only thing we leave behind as a culture, and it's the most important thing that we leave. And to give it the least amount of money or support or precedence, it's like, okay, well, you can do it that way, but that's not the right way to do it. But traditionally that has been, because no, we need to make our lady bread, but man does not live by bread alone. All artists are egocentric, or else they wouldn't be artists, because they have a particular point of view. That's what you're doing when you're an artist. The most essential quality is a point of view. That's how you look at things. But it's not a point of view exclusive of anything else.
If there is a constant in that, what is it?
It is it's artistic amalgamation. It's that cross. It's that absorbing where you came from and absorbing where you are now and changing it into some third form that has heretofore never been seen. The gestalt of it is much greater than the sum of its parts. Chicano art has been the most influential artistic movement within the last 50 years. And the influence is not in New York or Paris or Berlin, the influence is in other Latin American countries. Chicano art influenced Mexican art and Central American art and South American art, and that's the biggest influence that we see going through those countries right now. And that was the intent of the Chicano movement, to replace the European aesthetic with an Indian, Native American, you know, rascuache element. You know, here's the new aesthetic that this is based on, and it's not European. It's not the aesthetic of the conqueror, it's the aesthetic of the indigenous people, and that's what we're involved in right now.
We'll learn more about Cheech Marin when we come back. There are quite a few Latino artists in the area, and they were very excited about hearing that you're coming in to see the collection that you have. If you could speak to this group, what words would you share with them?
It is a very hard deal to make your living as a painter. It's even harder than being an actor. And it takes a lot of determination and a lot of dedication. Keep doing it, that's what I'm saying. Get up every morning and paint or draw or whatever your art form is, keep doing it. And you'll get better, and you'll get some recognition somewhere along the line. But also educate yourself as to what the greater art world looks like. Now in the days of the internet, in the age of the internet, it's instantly available. You know, before when I was a kid, you know, I need some information, you got to go down to the library and take out, like, click, oh, click, oh. So it's available, and everybody has a computer, and everybody can get on the internet. So educate yourself, and you don't need to go to some prestigious university to do it. If you're just a homespun guy, you get on that internet and you find out, just like I did. I had to go to the library and take out those portfolios of Cezanne and Rouault and all those artists and bring them home, and okay, you know, click. That's all you need to do now. But educate yourself as to how you fit in the larger world, and you do fit in the larger world, you know, and that's a really important message to do. And don't be lazy. Artists.
That sounds like your dad speaking to you.
I know, but it's the truth, man. You know. Oh, I call these artists. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to do that. Well, I got this other thing to do, but I'll get up back. Come on, let's go. Have 3 jobs, Chicano. You're not a Chicano.
Yeah, right there. Okay, let's try it. Mexican Americans don't like to just get into gang fights.
Chicanos are the most adaptive people on earth. I mean, it's this concept of rascuache. They'll take whatever they have in front of them, and they'll turn a planter into a nuclear generator. You know, you're missing one wheel, but it works. You know, and that is you know, the mainstream art world calls that appropriation or found object. To Chicanos, it's rascuache, and everybody gets it. You know. And it's a new interpretation, and it keeps getting reinterpreted. Every generation of Chicanos gets to define what Chicano is for their generation, and it's just as valid as any generation that came before. There was a political generation, and they wanted to keep it that way, but no, it's mercury. You can't keep it in your hands. It keeps changing forms, and it's out of your form. You just participate in it.
Tell me about yourself in this sense. You know, I always wondered when I would see you in the Cheech and Chong movies. I said, I wonder is he really like that?
Oh.
So are you really like that in person?
Well, Tommy used to say that that's who we are when our wives aren't around. Yeah, you know, it's an interpretation of us. We're speaking through a mask there, you know. That character is me, but it's, you know, it's masked, and that's Tommy, but it's masked, and that's what acting's about. You know, you speak through another character. The ancient Greeks wore masks, exactly. You know, tragedy, comedy, you know, and they kabukis, you know, through masks. It's because you're being somebody else, and that's kind of the art of acting, is speaking through this mask and how to be understood through this mask.
Hey, no timeouts, man. Come on.
It's always fun going out there, right? You know, that's the one thing I missed when Tommy and I were broken up, is the going out touring, because you get to see I mean, there's no better way to gauge the pulse of America than that. You're in a new city every day.
You took all that peyote, man. Anything's beautiful to you.
One of the things that I find fascinating is that throughout the years, you've been very popular. You've been part of this culture that we have. Some people call it counterculture. I think it's culture. And people who've grown up with you, like myself, and people who are, say, 8 years old to high school and junior high, you're very popular with them. So I'd like to know, what do you think makes your character and you so popular?
I think it's a combination of the innocence and good times that is a part of my vibe that I put out and it's projected to the people. And also it's because I appear a lot in a lot of different platforms, you know. And my easy line for that is, I'm a Chicano, I have to have 3 jobs, you know. So I'm out there doing my 3 jobs all the time. And so consequently, I get involved in a lot of different entertainment platforms, whether it's animation or series TV or movies or children's stuff, you know. So there's always something going on all the time. You know, my dad taught me, and he always had 3 jobs. And he says, you always have to have 3 jobs, or else you're not doing anything.
You're not really working.
Yeah, you're not really working.
Speaking of your family, of course, I hear that the reason you're called Cheech is for chicharron.
Chicharron, yeah.
So
when I was a little baby, my uncle Bono looked in the crib and said, "Ay, parece un chicharron, man. It looks like I look like a little chicharron." Chicharron is, for those who don't know, is a deep fried pig skins, and they're like potato chips, Mexican potato chips. And they're real curled up, and I was a little baby, little curled up, and I was a little chicharron, so that stuck. And that was my name in the family. Everybody had a nickname in my family, and I was Chicharron, and I got shortened to Cheech. And so when Tommy Chong and I were putting together our team, we're trying to find a name. Richard and Tom, my middle name's Richard. Richard and Tommy, Marin and Chong, sound too corporate. He says, "Do you have a nickname?" I said, "Well, my nickname is Cheech." Cheech and Chong. It's always been Cheech and Chong from that day forward.
Wow. You know, growing up in Chicano neighborhood myself, I know about the nicknames. I never got a cool one. You know, I was one when. But anyway, a lot of people in the neighborhood. So, but it made me think about your mom and dad. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about them.
Oh, my dad. My dad was a policeman. He's still living. He's 91.
Wow.
Still going. And he was born in LA, as well as my mother. All my grandparents are from Mexico. And he was a policeman for 30-some years, you know, real by-the-book cop. So that was interesting growing up. And my mother was the sweetest, the homemaker, wonderful. Everybody loved her, you know. And then she worked at my high school for 30 years after I left. And they were the most warm parents you could have. And it was, you know, I had a really solid, stable family life.
When you started your different characters, we'll just start with Cheech. What did your dad think about that?
Oh, he liked it.
He did?
He liked it because it was his entree into the juvenile delinquent world. You know? Hey, you ever heard of Cheech and Chong? Yeah, well, he's my son. Come here, talk to me. Tell me what's going on here. So it was easy for him to, come on, give me some more free albums. You know, that's like I was his slave. He always leaves me a message. Richard, this is your father. God to you. Still. All right, God. So I don't believe in God.
Oh, do you have a good sense? I guess that's where you got part of your sense of humor?
My family was very funny. Everybody in my family was very funny, very quick-witted, very smart, educated, and so that's how I grew. I was a runt of the litter, you know. I was like the little kid trying to keep up with the bigger kids, and they were smart.
Did you want to go into acting and all that from a very young age?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted to be in show business from the time I was like 11, 12. I knew that's where I was going to go. So I did everything I could to make that come true. You know, I was a singer and a guitar player and a musician, and I was in a couple plays. You know, like show business. I want to be in show business. And, I don't want to do cement work anymore.
You've done that. Let's move on to fun things.
Yeah.
Well, when you were in high school, were you in plays and things like that?
I was in one play. I was an athlete because, believe it or not, I played all sports, and I was an academic. I was good in school, and I did that, and I was a musician. I was always a singer, guitar player, and I was during high school. It was like, you know, the folk scare of the '60s, or, you know. So I was a folk guy, and then did R&B, and then did all kinds of music. Music was my life, and. I grew up that way, you know. I knew, knowing that I was going to be in show business somehow. It was kind of subliminal, but it was there, you know. And I went to college, and well, maybe I'll be a teacher, or maybe I'll do this, but no, I always went to show business. Yeah. So I kept doing that. I was in bands for all my life.
Are you the only one in the family that performs that way?
Yeah, I am. Well, my son is a DJ, and he does all kinds of music there, and he's a great musician, and no, but I'm the only one that he and I are the only one that performs.
The Ellen Noel Museum in Odessa, Texas is committed to connecting with the community and has exciting plans for the future. We spoke to their director and their curator about their museum and their collections, and this is what they had to say.
Ellen Noel Art Museum has been around for 27, 28 years, and it's one of the only institutions that offers free service to the community.
We want all ages to come here. And so that's one of the challenges, is to reach out and find a diverse set of collections or artists to come and to show here at our museum.
And we would like to expose the people from both communities to the challenges and rewards of investing in cultural institutions. And you know, we would like the Secretary of the Smithsonian to be one of our speakers. We would like, you know, some of the other champions in this country who have been directly involved with creating cultural institutions and making a huge difference, not only to the quality of life, but also these cultural institutions often serve as economic engines that drive the economy of the city and enhance its visitorship.
It is challenging to reach out to everybody in a diverse community such as ours. I'm looking forward to bringing in some Native American art that we haven't had in a very long time here. So that is exciting to me, to say that we have brought that here. And some of those are very prominent people that I have in mind.
The museum is committed to bringing American art, contemporary American art, to as many people as possible. The museum is also committed to focusing on design, which is the second dimension of art. And the museum is also interested in engaging in this conversation on a bigger platform.
Exhibitions that are appealing and engaging, and I think that's very important when a person comes to the museum, that they're engaged and they go back and tell other people, and that they want to come back here. So to me, it's an exhibition that makes people want to come back for more.
You're seeing a huge population increase. You're seeing a shortage of housing. You're seeing conversations that are focused on infrastructure planning that centers itself on hospitals, schools, shopping malls, and roadways. But there is hardly any conversation about investing in its cultural institutions. Odessa is defined not by shopping malls or by the infrastructural facilities, but also its cultural institutions. Investing in one's cultural institutions improves the quality of life, and the city gets known and the city gets visibility because of its cultural institutions.
Actually about 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, I had a friend of mine who had heard that Cheech Marin had this wonderful collection of Chicano art, and had said, wouldn't it be great if we had some of that here at the museum? And we both laughed about it. Throughout the years, I kind of kept pursuing and Googling and looking and seeing, well, you know, where is this art? Where is it going? I've found that Chicanitas, these small paintings, were actually going to be a traveling exhibition, part of his collection, and I thought it would make a great fit for here at our museum, and was able to get on board. They're traveling it this year for 2 years. It's going to 6 different venues, and so I think we're very privileged to be at one of those 6 venues for it to travel to. He's willing to share these works of art with people in communities such as ours that may not have the opportunity to go to large museums or to large cities and see great works of art, but to have them come here, to have the great works of art come here, and that's what I appreciate about Cheech. Margaret Garcia's Car Wash is one of my favorites. And the reason is because it's such a, I guess just a simple activity that happens every day. It happens here in Odessa. We wash our cars, you know, all the time. Who would think to paint that? And and she paints it with such emotion and such motion and movement in that small, you know, 4x6 painting that it just astounds me. I think people always expect paintings, great paintings are going to be huge. And this speaks to the collectors as well, those collectors out there. You know, don't just look at those large paintings, because sometimes in a very small amount of space you can get a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling and depth, as well as skill level. It takes skill to have all of that combined into one small space on a canvas or on a board or in a drawing as well. So I think, as Cheech says, size doesn't matter, it's what's inside the frame. And to me, that's what says it all.
The arts have been with us since the beginning of time, but it's often taken for granted. As Cheech said, when it comes to funding, it's often the first to go and the last to come back. We hope that today's show inspires you to visit your museums and your local art shows. And for you artists out there, as Cheech says, keep doing it and don't be lazy. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, this is Conversations That Matter.